And we're happy to be back live and in person in the ballroom. What I want to remind you, those of you who are in the ballroom, masks must be worn at all times except if you're eating or drinking something. And the speakers up here are going to remove their masks to do the presentation, so it makes it easier for you to understand what we're saying. And then we have sanitizer up here, and then we're going to move on and put our masks on when we sit back down. So just a little reminder. I also, before we get started, want to remind you that we have reinstituted the 50/50. Gail Cannell was selling tickets. If you haven't gotten yours, they're $1 each or 3 for $2. And then we have one door prize today. So those of you who are here in the room, lucky you, you might get the door prize. So if you, Gail will distribute tickets at the about the middle of the meeting. So we'll keep those separate from your 50/50 tickets. Okay. So now what I'd like us to do is say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So if you'll all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first order of business is the minutes. Minutes from our February 4th meeting were posted on our website and were sent by email to those of you who are part of our email database. So since we're not going to read them out, they were posted and emailed, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as they were posted and distributed. Karen, thank you. Do we have a second to that motion? Someone?
I second it.
Thank you, Sue. Any questions or discussion on the minutes? Okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed and any abstentions? Great. The minutes are adopted. So just briefly, I want to just introduce the board for those of you who may not know our board members and those of you who may be new in the community. I'm Margaret Jacoby, and I'm your president for this year. Down at the end there is, who are you? Can't tell behind her mask. That's Peggy Marcone, and she's our first vice president. And Pam Williams is sitting right near her, 6 feet away, and Pam is our secretary. And to my right over here is Sue Smith.
Hello.
And Sue is our second vice president. And way on the end there, our male member of the group is Mr. Smiles, Walt Smiles, and he's our treasurer. So that's the group. We are going to deviate from our normal agenda because we have two guests with us today. Some of you may have heard of AMHO. It is the Arizona Association of Manufactured and RV Home Owners. They are our advocacy group with the state of Arizona, and they have done a lot of work in the past to adopt and make changes to the Landlord Tenants Act, which is what governs how parks like ours are governed and operate. So I want to introduce first Pat Schoenig. And Pat is the membership director of AMHO. And come on up, Pat. And she's going to talk a little bit about who AMHO is and what they do. Okay. And then we're going to have another guest speaker, Wally Turner, who is a resident at Palmas del Sol East. And he's been a volunteer with AMHO for about 14 years or something like that. So Pat is going to talk, and then Wally is going to come up. So Pat, take it away.
Thank you. Slip the mask off, pull out my hearing aids. What a situation. Anyway, we'll all get through this. AMHO is the Arizona Association of Manufactured Homes, and we've been going for about 34 years. And our main thing is legislation. And this year, before legislation, we brought back through a new bill on caregivers in the homes, and it will make things much simpler for the people up here. And I can't read you the bill. It passed in both uh, sessions, but the governor hasn't signed the bill, so it's illegal for them to send it to us. So we'll have to wait. Uh, I have here, and I'll leave plenty of them, sheets that tell all about AMHO and what they do. I have sheets to leave for you on manufactured home insurance. Cody is our vice president, but he's been standing up from AMHO from the day we formed, whether even long before he had a place that he could be on the board. And there's a lot of difference between manufactured home insurance and some of the homeowners insurance that you have. So if it gets so that you can open up and have a meeting, I would suggest having Cody come and talk about all the differences. He does a wonderful job of it. I also will leave some sheets that list all of the different things that AMHO has done through legislation that went into the Landlord-Tenant Act since we started, and it was about 1975 when they joined with the Park Owners Association and wrote all the laws and did all the stuff they did for you. We also have AmPro, which is an organization associated with AMHO, because AMHO cannot, we have to do all of our work, pay our legislator and everything through our dues. And because that is a governmental organization. And so we formed AmPro, where we can take donations. If you want to donate some money to help with things for AMHO and for the education of people in the park, it can be given to AmPro, and that will give you a tax deduction on your taxes. We have new blanks for joining AMHO, and the reason we've gone to the new stuff is, I will explain that in just a minute. I have one more. I don't know, some of you have seen these fellows in here from storm damage specialists. They get on your roof and check them out and stuff, and I guess there have been a couple of incidences where maybe some of the work wasn't done right. I know in my park, they come in and did 35 homes. 33 of the people were happy. There were 2 that they went back. They went back several times and finished it, fixed it, and took care of it. The thing is, they're one of the few people that go out and promote AMHO. Wherever they work in a park, they explain what AMHO is, and we've had a good working relationship with them. The other thing that I need to bring up, and you're going to be finding, I don't know how many of you have email addresses that you can, I guess first I should have asked, how many of you are AMHO members? Okay. When you belong, if you have an email address, you now get your newsletter by email. Every other month, we put out a newsletter which tells you each time about some incident, something that you can get involved with the laws and stuff that will help you to understand things within your park. We also were going out to many of the parks and teaching the Landlord-Tenant Act class, because that's a 43-page law. And as all of you know, you sit down, if these 4 people at this table read that through and started discussing it, you would have 4 different opinions, because there would be something within it that somebody interpreted differently. And so we feel that education and our legislation are very, very important. As you get this new stuff, you will see on the back of it, it has a Broadway mailing address. We've always had a McClintock address for several years. Due to the fact that in this last year with COVID, and actually it started before, people are very complacent because they don't have many problems and they don't think it's necessary to join AMHO and pay that legislature. They think those laws can't go away. Well, laws could come up and take those laws away. I won't say that they absolutely will. But another thing is we used to go into the parks and work with the people and explain to them what AMHO is, and we would have one person within the park that would do that. Then they went to strictly mailing. And I think a lot of you know, when you pick up your mail, oftentimes you look at that and say, oh, what's that? And throw it in the trash, lay it aside. And I think that's what happened to part of them. Part of them is the economy. People feel they can't afford the $35 a year or 2 years for $60. However, membership has been dropping. And so in December, we came to the conclusion that we were not going to be able to pay our lobbyist out of what we bring in off of dues because we weren't bringing in enough money. And so we listed our building for sale. We got an extremely fair price out of it, and that closed 2 weeks ago. Our office is now operated out of our secretary's home, and I tell you, the biggest share of our work has been done out of our homes. I've been working on the board for 12 years and traveling around and doing things, and everything I've done has been out of my home. And so right now, we all are working out of our home, and our secretary is taking care of the stuff. I want you to understand with AMHO, we are still there to answer your questions. We are still there to get you any information you need. We are still printing the newsletter. For the people who don't have email, I'm trying to figure out a way how to solve that. Connie said with our big printer at her place, she will print me off a bunch of them and I can bring them with me. I brought Wally one today because I think it's important for people to have that. The thing is, we did have to sell our building. We will be doing our board meetings out of Panera Bread. They graciously offered if we bought a beverage, at least, we could have our meetings there, no charge. And the same thing with the manager's certification classes. So we're in the process of going about doing that. We will do everything we can to take care of your needs. I will be staying here for a while afterwards. I will be happy to have any of you come and talk to me. I see you have on here for asking questions. I'll be glad to do that, but I want to give Wally a couple of minutes to talk too.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat. And Wally's going to now talk to us. And don't forget, he's from Palmas del Sol East. He's one of our neighbors.
Good morning. How are you? I am surprised that I wasn't expecting to get up in front of anybody and talk about anything, but I'm glad I'm here and glad to meet you. And I want to relate to you the importance of AMHO. I've been doing this in our park for 15 years. And over those 15 years, a lot of the residents have had issues with management and safety things. And I probably have saved the residents well over $20,000, combined, of issues that were responsibility of management. and they didn't tell the resident that that was management's responsibility, the park's responsibility. So it's something that is enlightening to find out and make people happy when they find out that there's somebody to support you and the residents. So, it's throughout the whole state, and other states by other names, but there's an advocate for us residents that live in parks like this, that live on leased land. One of the things that just happened the last year or so is this storm damage service that she talked about, Pat talked about a bit, and they work with AMHO. They've been in our park for about a year doing roofing and awnings and air conditioning inspections and having some of them replaced, or more roofs than anything else. But they come and inspect it, no charge. They work with the resident. They work with the insurance company. The insurance company is the person that pays the bills, so they send somebody out to do a re-inspection on their part to protect the insurance company. But on most all the homes that they've done, probably we've had 3 or 4. They've probably done over 30 in our park, but 3 or 4 that had insurance that they didn't like to pay out their claims. So the people realized that they didn't have adequate insurance. So then we kind of tell them that, you should have your insurance looked at about every 2 years. Make sure your coverage is right. They pay their claims. We had our roof done when we first moved in 15 years ago, and we've had some storm damage, and so they replaced the roof. I had a couple leaks here since the last rain, and they're coming out today to come and repair and fix whatever needs to be fixed. But it's a credible company. I would say if you have somebody that needs a new roof or wants it inspected, and also the carports with the wind damage. Yeah, I know you had some wind damage here the other day, so they cover that too. But I would say that the biggest gratification I get is helping people in my park, because if it wasn't for AMHO, especially these people that I say, they used to be older people, but now a lot of the younger people, in the park that I live in, have no idea that there's an advocate for their rights. So I am there in our park, and I come around to help Pat and other parks because I sincerely believe it's worth looking at, worth investing in, and worth getting involved in. You'll like what you see and how it helps people. Thank you. And you can come to our park and visit anytime you want. Am I doing this right? I didn't spit too much.
Okay, thank you, Wally, and thank you, Pat. If you have any questions for them, we do have that little open question period at the end of the meeting, but they're going to stick around for a little while. We've put some of their information up here on the front table. Sue is actually our contact person here within this park about AMHO. She has a lot of the information that if you need an application for your dues, or you can do that online. And the AMHO website is, wait a minute. The AMHO website is www.amho.org. Okay, great. I think it's up on your screen, so thank you. So great. Thanks again for being here. And I do highly recommend that you consider joining AMHO. It's very beneficial for all of us in the park. Our next item is the treasurer's report. Well, you're up.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's very unusual that I stand before you with good news about our treasury. Margaret's been very instrumental in getting information out to people about donations. And so far, we have gotten $280 worth of donations for the Treasury. And she just handed me checks of $45. So anybody out there that would like to donate to the Residents Association, you can drop off a check to any one of the board members. You can, Margaret, or you can send it to our mailbox, which is mailbox number 666. So again, the people that have donated so far, we appreciate that very much. And because we're looking for many more donations. Right now, our balance as of 2/4 at our last meeting was $195.27. And I had to make an adjustment from the last meeting. I forgot to put $4 into the report. So we actually had an additional $4. We had donations of $280. So right now, our balance as of today is $479.27. Plus we got the $45. So it's a very happy occasion today that we can do this. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, Walt. We're happy you had that happy report for us. And I just want to remind folks, as Walt said, we'll take your cash too. It doesn't have to be a check. You can hand us your cash and we'll be happy to take it. And I think we've explained in the past why we're even looking for some donations. We need some money to upkeep the website, which I think you folks, or a lot of you folks, go there, you look for the minutes, you look at new information that we have on there, and it takes someone to update that for us. And we have a very generous person whose mom lives in the park, and he volunteers pretty much. We only pay him a very small amount of money, but we do have to pay him something. So that's helpful. And your money goes towards that and to pay for the website URL, the name of the website and the hosting of the website. So we appreciate that. So hearing Walt's report, can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report as given? Gail, thank you. Can I get a second to that motion? Thank you. And any questions or comments on the treasurer's report? Perfect. All those in favor say aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Great, thank you. Okay, so old business, we have committee reports. And our first committee report is Neighborhood Watch, and we've been talking about that a little bit as the months have gone by. So Walt is our liaison, and he's going to give you the latest on Neighborhood Watch.
Well, again, it's more good news. We've got Sally York, who is the coordinator for the Neighborhood Watch, doing an extremely good job for us so far. She's got some committee members and they're starting out working hard. They're still looking for some street leaders and anybody else that would like to be a community leader. And you can contact Sally, and I'll give you the email address. It's at lpgnwp@gmail.com. Again, that is lpgnwp@gmail.com. So anybody that would like to get involved with the Neighborhood Watch, get a hold of Sally, and she is a main coordinator for it. She's meeting tomorrow with management just to go over her directions and that. So I just wanted to put a shout out for management because they are working very well with us, and we thank them for doing that. If anybody has any questions. Okay, again, thank you for, yes. Okay, it's lpgnwp@gmail.com. Got it? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, lowercase, all lowercase. Yeah. But again, like I said, they are looking for volunteers, so if you'd like to get involved in it, it's a great program. It not only helps you, but it helps your neighbors and the older people in the community. Thank you. Mhm.
Thanks, Walt. We're excited about Neighborhood Watch. And we're looking for, as Walt said, more volunteers. So if you haven't volunteered, and the street, it's, in the past, it used to be you had an entire big block to watch. But Sally has worked it out that you're only responsible for your little street. Okay? So like Augusta is a big, long street, but that's broken up into sections. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that. I'm so used to wearing this thing. So the street leaders will just have their little street to monitor. And I think that it's a good way to get to know your neighbors if you don't know them already. And new people are moving in all the time. It might be a good way to introduce yourself to the neighborhood. So please think about it and sign up to be a street leader or at least help on the committee. Thank you. Okay, newsletter. Peggy, you're up for the newsletter.
We had our first newsletter went out just recently. And I know I've heard personally from a couple people, that they really enjoyed it, that it was informative, and we'd like to see it continued. We haven't gotten a lot of feedback on it. So we were kind of wondering, did everyone read it? It is posted on our website. And I just thought, this is something that's for the community. We're a community and we like to get to know our neighbors. I know when my husband and I first came here, we went through an orientation class, and then they took our picture and they put a little blip in the newspaper about who we were and what our story was. But for us, it was only 2.5 years ago. But for some of you, it may have been 15 or 20 years ago that little thing was done for you. And there's been a lot of turnover in that time. So we'd like to have it that our little newsletter would help us to get to know each other and become more of a close-knit community where we know the people that we live with and we can help when needed or, offer our services when needed. So the newsletter is more than just something that you'll get quarterly. It's something to build our community. So Shirley Ann Crane is our captain in charge of this newsletter. I think she did a great job on the first newsletter, and I'd like to see this continued. We are looking for a name for our newsletter. The first one went out is the LPG was in large letter Gazette. But we'd like to get something more relating to our community than that. And it's very simple to submit something to it. It doesn't have to be elaborate. She has an email address of Annie. It's ANNIE, the number 2, U, and then the number 16 @gmail.com. She's in unit number 520. If you want to drop it off personally, just write something up. It doesn't have to be elaborate. But there's things like, where was your original home? Where did you come from? Why was it that you came to LPG? What was it that made you decide to settle here? You can talk about your jobs in the past. Where did you work? What kind of work did you do? Were you a farmer? What was it like being a farmer? We have a lot of farmers in here, and I find that very interesting myself. You can submit your favorite recipe. Just anything that you want to share with others, something that you might want to share with your neighbor, but you don't know your neighbor. Maybe your neighbor will read that and realize that, hey, that's my neighbor. I'm going to go over and talk to her about that. I came from there too, or I want her recipe for something else. If she knows this, maybe she knows a better one. It's just for our community, for fun, but also just to get us to help to know each other better. So if you would, submit something, have fun with it, and let us know what you think of it. And if you have any ideas at all for a name, we would appreciate hearing those too. Thank you. Yes? Okay, there are forms on the front table here too, if you want a form to fill out, that, just something to write on that you can hand to Shirley Ann would be great. Okay.
Thank you, Peggy. Yeah, if you haven't seen the newsletter yet, go to the website and the newsletter is posted there. If you're on our email database, you will have received a copy of the newsletter. We don't have the resources to print it for those who don't have access to email or the website. We're hoping if we build up our treasury, we may be able to do that in the future and have them like out in the lobby or something like that. But right now, they're only available electronically. But please do go check it out. The next item on our agenda is the open items list. And in the past year, through this pandemic, we haven't had a lot of, interaction from the community about issues to bring up to management. We've gone through all the lists that we dealt with over the past year and have cleared up pretty much all of those items with management. We do have a few open items yet, which is the signing of the new leases. And I just updated that this morning. Chrissy still has not heard from corporate about the new leases, so they're not available yet. The other thing about that, we were supposed to get our decals for the car inside the lease packet, but that's not happening. So if you have not received your new decals for your car, please go to the office and pick them up. And you have to do it in person. Your neighbor can't go and get it for you, unfortunately. So please do get that, because I still see a lot of cars in the park with the green 2020 stickers on there. So please do go and get your 2021. COVID vaccinations, there was a big flurry about that. We were trying to work with management to get some health organization to come into the park, and it wasn't happening. And you should have, if you get email, you should have gotten something from Karen Thompson about a survey who would still be interested, because they do have a provider now that it looks more likely that they will get the vaccine to go ahead. And I hate that spam call. But they do have a provider, and it looks like they're going to get enough vaccine to come into the park. So if you haven't had a chance to fill that out, please do it. If you know somebody who doesn't have email and you need that information, contact me. I have extra forms for that, and I can certainly scan them and email them for you. So we're hoping that that will come to fruition soon for those of our residents in the park that can't get out to those sites for a vaccine. Dogs are on our agenda every single month. There is an article in this month's Lifestyles that Christy wrote about maintaining your dogs in a safe manner, keeping them on leashes, not to abuse your neighbor's properties by letting your dogs do their business there and not cleaning it up. There is a lot of issue around dogs. I love dogs. We had dogs. Our neighbors have dogs. It's not about not liking dogs. It's about taking care of and keeping your dogs in a manner that doesn't impact on your neighbors. There is a dog park to let the dogs run. The area around here is not a dog park. It's not for letting your dogs do their business. The mailroom is not a place to exercise your dog and take the dogs in there. So please read that article if you haven't. Read your lease. If your dog is not registered with the office, please do that right away. There is a limit on the number of dogs or pets you can have in your home, and there is some restriction about getting them vaccinated and keeping them leashed and those kinds of things. So if you haven't registered your dog with management, please do that, because every month on our open items list, we have complaints about dogs. So please do that, and then we can take that off our open items list as well. If you want to make us aware of an issue, whether it's dogs or the pool or anything, we have a way to do that. We have some forms that are available on the website. We also have some on the front table. We call them the concern and compliment form. We'd love to have compliments for management and for staff as well, because if you look around the park is kept up really well. The grass looks good. They're replacing those queen palms that were destroyed over this last year. They do a lot of work. They keep the pickleball courts going. They keep the shuffleboard courts up. They keep bocce ball in good shape for residents that use those courts. So if you have a compliment, we'd love to have it, receive it, and put it on the agenda for the next management meeting, which is next Thursday. So anything you'd like to bring to our attention, make sure we get it by Wednesday so I can put it on Thursday's agenda. I think that's it. I think that's it for the moment. Let me just double check. Oh, this is the time a lot of you like. We can, let me remind you, if you haven't bought your 50/50, please do that before we close that up. And then Gail, will you start giving out the single tickets for the door prizes? And please keep your single ticket separate from your 50/50 drawing ticket. It doesn't cost you anything for the door prize. You'll just receive an opportunity to be in the drawing. So I'm going to open up for any questions or complaints or compliments. There's a microphone kind of in the middle of the room there behind table number 9. If you'll please come to the microphone so that the people watching on YouTube will be able to see and hear you better, that would be wonderful. So I'm going to open it up for any questions or comments or concerns. You can even ask the AMHO folks if you have a specific question or concern. Anyone? No? Wow. Okay. You do. Okay. Come on up.
I listened about that storm damage specialists, and actually, I think it was Margaret that originally mentioned it to us and said that it was that AMHO, was really behind this, and that this company supported AMHO. So we called them and had them come over to look at our 19-year-old roof. We knew it wasn't going to last too much longer, but when he went up there, he did see a lot of hail damage and wind damage. And when the insurance company came out to look at it, they said, well, it's a really old roof. We don't know what we're going to do with this. You might have to go back to your old insurance company. They really put a lot of doubts in our mind about it. So I called Dennis, who was in charge of that, and with storm specialists, and he said, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. And he did. We have a brand new roof. They did excellent work. Everything is all done. They did the whole thing in a day, cleaned up everything afterwards. We have a new roof, and it only cost us the amount of the deductible on our insurance. And I was really concerned, thinking, okay, now our insurance premium's going up. It doesn't. He said it won't go up because they consider this an act of God. That's the way it's listed on your insurance policy. So it doesn't increase your insurance premium either. So I just wanted to let you know that it was a very easy process, and we got a brand new, really good looking roof out of it. And they even took care of an issue that we had with our carport leaking, but they said it was just, like that's normal for carports out here, because they put the carports on after the homes are put in place and the roofs are on there, and then they try and shove whatever that stuff is up underneath it to protect the roof. Well, when they redid the roof, they did the whole thing in one piece, so we don't have any leaks on our carport anymore either. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I was really pleased with them.
Okay, a satisfied customer, so we're glad about that. Pam, are you ready with the 50/50? She's working on it, folks, just
Margaret,
waiting with anticipation.
you just might want to mention that with the dogs, if the dog is even on the golf cart, they should have a leash on.
Oh, good point, Walt. To go back to the dogs and keeping them on a leash, many folks, have these sweet little dogs that are, so good. They take them in the golf cart and don't have a leash on them. But according to our leases and the rules of the park, even in the golf cart, they need to be leashed. There's an opportunity for something to grab the dog's attention that would he'd jump off the cart or she would jump off the cart and possibly get hurt. So that's the big concern. We don't want the dogs putting themselves in a position where they will get hurt. So it's important to keep the leash on your lovely pet when you are riding in your golf cart. And I see that when I go into the mailroom, the little sweet dog sitting on the seat and the owner is in the mailroom. You never know. We've had instances of coyote sightings in the park. You never know when that's going to happen. So it's for your pet's safety that you keep them leashed. You ready? Pam is going to be the person to draw the number, and she's going to tell us what your prize is.
Okay, we collected $26, so the 50/50 half is 13. Do I have a volunteer who'd like to draw the lucky number? Sue? I hope Nancy's got a picture of this mask. And the winner is 164325. 164325. Aha! No?
Table 10.
Table 10. The last three numbers, 325. Okay, I'll take those. Because that's for the other drawing. Trash can. It's here and all.
Okay, if you'll tell us who you are that won the door prize, the 50/50? Mr. Olson, number 358, one of your neighbors. Congratulations, and thank you for participating.
I'm gonna have Gail.
Okay.
I'm gonna have Gail do our drawings and she helped me with the 50/50. This is for the door prize, the one ticket by itself. 336. 336. No, we have a door prize for 336.
Oh my,
Well,
what happened to that? Did they leave? No,
I don't know.
Want to choose another one?
Okay. Well, we're 348. No 336 for a Starbucks card. Okay. We'll let the lucky winners of the 50/50 draw. Well, I guess you win. You're gonna be. 164325. 32.
Over there?
Yep.
Well, it's nice to keep it in the family. Wonderful.
Is this your first meeting? Well,
Well, see, first time, good luck.
good luck.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much. If there is no other business, no other questions, concerns, our next meeting is April 1st here in the ballroom. Tell your friends, we have an exciting time. Show up. We are allowed up to, as you can see, we can have up to 50 people in the room, which we haven't had for a long time. So invite your friends and neighbors to come out. We would really love to see you. And also let us know if you have concerns or compliments for us to take to the management team next week. We meet with the management team the week after this regular meeting, so you have some time to do that. So if there's no other business, no other questions, Pam?
How many people have Julie, Larry? 16? Okay, thank you.
Right now,
Okay.
Yeah, great. So thank you all for being here. Don't forget, April the 1st and 9:30 a.m. Bocce ball courts are open for those who are interested. Thanks, everyone. We're adjourned.